Good evening, everybody. We are coming to closure in a negative sense to celebrate third anniversary of Russia-Ukraine conflict, and there's no hope of reconciliation and diplomatic solution in the war front. Russia is aggressive more than past, and Ukraine is trying to counterbalance their war efforts. So practically Ukraine is in the brink of a failed state, practically speaking, as Ukraine has lost a considerable amount of landmass, fighting forces, war machinery means weaponry, and also the willpower of Ukrainian forces. Although the European media and American media are trying to showcase that Ukraine's moral capacity is very enriched, they are morally very strong, motivated to fight against Russia, but practically in the field, in the battleground, Ukraine is losing their forces, their resources, their lands every day. So the triumph of counterbalancing by Ukraine is not that much mentionable, and the progress in the war field, in the battlefield, in the ground is not something that can give us a positive message in terms of Ukraine's triumph over Russian forces. If we compare the military power of both the belligerent countries, Russia and Ukraine, by statista.com, Russia's available manpower is 6,900,000 and 32,472. I'm sorry, it should be 69 lakh 43 69 million and okay, I'm sorry, okay, it's 13 million 20,000, where active soldiers of Ukraine is 900,000. Reserve forces, in terms of, Russia has 2 million reserve forces, where Ukraine has only 120,000 reserve forces. In terms of paramilitary units, Russia has 250,000 and Ukraine has only 100,000. If we compare Air Force, Russia has total 4,255 aircraft, where Ukraine has only 321 aircraft. In terms of helicopter capacities, Russia has 1,547, where Ukraine has 130 fighters. Russia has 809 fighter jets, where Ukraine has only 72 fighter jets. For dedicated attack, Russia has 730 and Ukraine has only 30. Attack helicopters, Russia has 559 and Ukraine has 33. Transport aircraft, Russia has 453 and Ukraine has only 24. So this is a short glimpse of the comparison of two forces. I think I can present another comparison by globalfirepower.com. So as per their analysis, so Russia ranked second among 145 countries where their power index is 0.0788 as per globalfirepower.com, and Ukraine ranked 20 in terms of power index ranking where their score is 0.3755. So in terms of so let's come to man air power. In terms of air power, Russia has total 4,292 aircraft, where Ukraine has only 324 aircraft. So it's really horrible. And in terms of land power, Russia has 5,750 tank, where Ukraine has only 1,114 tank. Armored vehicles, Russia has 131,527 armored vehicles, where Ukraine has only 18,920 armored vehicles. Russia has 5,168 self-propelled artillery, and Ukraine has 658 self-propelled artillery. So in terms of naval power, Russia has 419 fleet, where Ukraine has only 89 fleet. Russia has one aircraft carrier. Ukraine has no aircraft carriers. Russia has 63 submarines. Ukraine has no submarines. Russia has 10 destroyers. Ukraine has no destroyers. Also, in terms of frigates, Russia has 12 frigates and Ukraine has no frigates. Russia has 83 corvettes. Ukraine has no corvettes. Patrol vessels, Russia has 123. Ukraine has only 33. And mine warfare, Russia has 47. Ukraine has 3. So so we have presented a very short glimpse of comparison of power, military power, in terms of Russia's kind of superiority over Ukraine. But strategically speaking, European and America is supporting Ukraine, but this support and is not enough, as the intensity of war and the battleground reality is really tough, as the intensity of attack by Ukrainian forces is getting really what I say, kind of tough for them, as the Ukrainian forces has lost a big portion of their manpower and logistics in the ongoing fighting against Russia. So the most important point is America is losing their interest in this war, and I say it's a it's a frustration in the political arena of America, as Mr. Trump is going to take presidential office in his Oval Office. I think the the scenario can be changed, and American cooperation with Russia is not something we can predict ahead. Well, that America will stand by Ukraine with the support they were providing in previous times. So a piece is written by Kamal on European Council on Foreign Relations, and the piece is Defending Europe with Less America. So he summarizes some very, very vital points, where he summarizes point number one. I quote from his piece, which is published in a European Council on Foreign Relations. It is published on 3rd July 2024. So he summarizes Russia's war on Ukraine has revealed the sorry state of European militaries and defense industries after decades of peace dividends, as well as their deep reliance on the US. What he wants to say is Europe is getting more dependent on USA, which is kind of a sorrowful presentation by the weakness of European military industry, European war efforts against Russia by Ukraine. Another point he summarizes: a second Trump presidency could drastically reduce US defense support for Europe, but regardless of the outcome of the US presidential election, the degradation of the European security environment and the shifting priorities of the US mean that Europe needs to be prepared to take more responsibility for its own defense. Already I have mentioned this point earlier, that as the incoming president of the USA, Mr. Trump, is a person on whom you cannot predict really what he thinks and how his decisions are being translated in the reality. As Biden administration was positive, but takes a lot of time to take practical decision that can impact the war positively. And it's true that Biden has faced enormous pressure in the Congress, and it's also much more true that Mr. Trump will face fierce opposition in the US Congress and also in the Senate, as for many reasons the Congress has kind of majority, or there is a strong anti-Trump pavilion in the Congress and also in the Senate. Mr. Trump will face fierce opposition in terms of a good number of opposition by the Democrats and also in his own party, as today there is a conviction hearing of him in the US judicial system. So the judiciary is giving him a chance to run the presidency, but he will face fierce opposition even in the Senate. So Mr. Trump kind of under pressure by the US lawmakers, both in the Congress and in the Senate. So in the House of Representatives. So the Senate will make it harder for him to pass any law the way he thinks, as he thinks very less to take decisions, and he doesn't look at the implications of his decisions, which is we have seen in the last presidency of Trump, Mr. Trump. The another point summarizes by Mr. Kamal Grant is Europeans require a sustained plan over the next decade that combines immediate efforts to support Ukraine and rebuild readiness and longer-term goals to develop a full force package, including the combat support capabilities and key enablers that are currently provided primarily by the US. So Europe has some kind of positive preparation against Russia by standing with the Ukraine, but still now it's true that they need repositioning of their military mechanism, their war effort, which is dependent on USA. So it will take time, as it needs financial reallocation and it needs industrial reinvestment, which requires a lot of legal and financial and other regulatory kind of efforts to be taken by the European nations, combined and combinedly at European Union level and their national level. The last point he summarizes is paradoxically such a deliberate approach to overcoming institutional challenges and strengthening Europe's defense capabilities may be the best way to preserve a strong transatlantic relationship and a degree of US commitment. So Europe needs to strengthen their relationships with the USA, and also they need to strengthen their defense capabilities. So it's kind of rebalancing the existing relationship with the USA and also rebalancing the dependence on the US military capabilities, defense capabilities by Europe. So this is another point. Now let's see inclusion of the NATO's position on on Ukraine, and how NATO is really taking side of Ukraine. It's true that NATO members have supported Ukraine's eventual membership, but the country has never been extended an invitation. So Trump, who has questioned US aid to Ukraine, said on the campaign trail he could solve the war in Ukraine quickly. This is a comment, but as NATO is now is now really under pressure, as Mr. Trump is coming into power, and NATO is now kind of under pressure, as US president has a strong role in the overall kind of expansion, overall upbringing, overall situation in the NATO. So NATO is now needs to rethink their strategy towards Ukraine, and also they needs to increase their defense spending, what is predicted by incoming US President Mr. Trump to 5% of their GDP, as it is a pressing issue. So where their present target is 2% as per BBC. So I don't think that NATO can come up with very strong commitment regarding Ukraine's increase of fund for Ukraine. In terms of defense spending of NATO members, it's less than 2% right now, where Poland is trying to rebalance their defense spending. Lithuania's spending is only 0.88%, but they are trying to increase it, but where NATO has targeted to have 2% of their GDP, but still now Mr. Trump's kind of urged, or he set a requirement to make it 5%. Now let us look at NATO's cooperation in terms of Ukraine's war effort, how NATO is now supporting, or how much support they have provided to Ukraine's war effort. NATO, the alliance, has not sent troops to Ukraine or enforced a no-fly zone over the country for fear of being pulled into a direct conflict with Russia. However, individual member states have supplied arms and equipment. As NATO, as an alliance, they didn't extend any military support, but individual countries extended their support. Like it's true that Ukraine is hugely supported by the US till the moment, like till October 2024. Between February 2022, Ukraine has supported, USA has supported Ukraine with 49.7 billion US dollars, where European NATO members has provided for in total $43.7 billion during the same period. And among the NATO members, US, UK, Germany and Turkey and others sent anti-tank weapons, missile defense systems such as Patriot, artillery guns, tanks and drones. Especially the US, UK and France, they supported Ukraine with long-range missiles and like attacks and Storm Shadow, Scalp. So this is a small scenario of military aid provided by the NATO members towards Ukraine. And how NATO is, as I am discussing the NATO Russia-Ukraine dimension of Russia-Ukraine conflict, if we see NATO's preparation to defend the NATO members against Russia, like till January-February 2025, NATO forces there's a plan, will take part in a joint military exercise which is named as Steadfast Dart 25 in Bulgaria and Romania, led by a UK Army division. So the troop will take part in this exercise to see their reinforcement, their preparation in eastern borders ahead of any enemy attack. So the eastern flank of NATO is a focus where NATO is putting their military preparations to counter any Russian attack. So this is in 2023 there is an agreement between NATO commanders on a detailed plans for countering possible Russian attacks anywhere in the Arctic, the North Atlantic, Eastern Europe or the Mediterranean Sea region. And also the existing high alert uh, forces has been raised from 40,000 to 300,000, who will be grouped in 8 battle groups. So this is a kind of preparation by NATO. Let us check how China is uh, influencing, or China's role in the Russia-Ukraine war, as we cannot really disacknowledge, or we cannot uh, kind of uh, uh, mm, keep our eyes closed in terms of China's role in the invasion of uh, Russia's uh, Ukraine invasion. But if we see the overall positioning of China, is kind of they are uh, supporting a diplomatic solution to the problem, as they always put their pressure on business outcomes, trade and commerce. So if we see some major events after the invasion to Ukraine by Russian forces, like uh, like uh, on November 26, 2024, European Union has put sanction on several Chinese firms helping Russian companies develop attack drones deployed for use in Ukraine. China's foreign ministry spokesperson Mao Ning states that China opposes unilateral sanctions that have not been approved by the UN Security Council, although. So there are some other unrest between European Union and China. So and China is playing their role very kind of in a very cool-headed manner, as Mr. Xi Jinping has visited Russia, and also Mr. Putin has paid a courtesy visit to Russia. Now the question: is China providing Russia with weapons? In an interview with BBC News, US Secretary of State Anthony Blinken said, "What's not happening is the provision of actual arms by China to Russia for use in Ukraine. However, China has been accused of building up Moscow's war machine by providing critical components." So there is no mention, but there is kind of estimation that about 70% of the machine tools and 90% of the microelectronics Russia imports come from China. It's a statement by Mr. Blinken. So there is another complaint by US Secretary that Beijing exports more than 300 million worth of dual-use items, those with both commercial and military applications, to Russia every month, according to an analysis. The analysis has been done by Carnegie Endowment think tank. So and also, so there is a strong trade relation with China. So Russia has kind of efforts to counterbalance their trade and commerce and their reliance on raw materials and microelectronics from China. So there is also China is buying a big amount of oil from China. Almost half of all the Russian government's annual revenues come from oil and gas. So it's a big source of income of Russian war mechanism, war machine, or their financial source. Uh, so in 2023, Russia surpassed Saudi Arabia to become China's top crude oil supplier, and during this time, China imported 107 million tons of crude oil from Moscow, a 24% increase from 2022. So there is a kind of support from Russia by buying their oil. Oh, so and also in terms of LPG, Russia has bought a very big, shocking amount, which is almost 8 million tons of liquefied petroleum gas or LPG from Russia, which is a 77% increase from 2021. And that's how China is kind of supporting Russia. But it's not proven that China is supporting Russian war effort against Ukraine by providing weaponry. And another player is Iran. How Iran is supporting Ukraine. It's true that Iran is being run by a very oppressive regime of Khamenei after the Islamic Revolution. So the country is not free, there is no democracy, there is no opportunity for women empowerment, there is no freedom of speech, freedom of gathering, freedom of association. So it's a rogue regime which is run by Islamic revolutionary. So they are not bound by international rules based order. So since February 2022, Iran is supporting Russia against Ukraine, as Russia is being supported by supporting the Iranian regime, and Mr. Putin has visited Iran. Like a report by Arab Center at Washington says hundreds of Iranian drones have reportedly been used by Russia against civilian and military targets in Ukraine. Three types of Iranian drones, namely the Shahed 131, Shahed 136, and Mahajir 6, have been used in the war. And as of January 2023, Ukrainian officials estimated that around 660 Shahed drones have been unleashed by Russia. In addition, over the past 6 months, cargo ships traveling the Caspian Sea have reportedly transported more than 300,000 artillery shells and a million rounds of ammunition from Iran to Russia, which many experts believe will prolong the war and have a counterproductive impact on Ukraine's efforts to repel Russian attacks. Signs about that Tehran-Moscow military cooperation is deepening, and that the Islamic Republic, although falling short of casting itself as a belligerent in the battle, is empowering Russia to ensure that its arsenal of deadly arms does not dwindle. And so they are birds of same feather, means Russia and Iran, but uh, Iran is not involving in the attack against Ukraine directly, but supporting uh, Ukraine, Russia with drones. There is a kind of rumor that Iran is providing missile system to the Russian forces. A report covered by Al Jazeera, which takes Ukraine's Western allies claim Iran has sent short-range ballistic missiles to Russia in a major escalation, a claim Tehran has rejected as completely baseless and false. But United States, Britain, France, and Germany, they have imposed sanctions on Iran, but the the report says Iran has sent 200 ballistic missiles to the US, to the Russia, and they are satellite-guided projectiles BM-120. So, and the other specifications are they are single stage surface to surface solid propellant ballistic missile, and that can be launched from up to 6 round canisters mounted on the back of trucks. So kind of they are movable and they are easily sendable in the battleground, and the range is 120 kilometers, and it can carry an explosive payload weighing up to 150 kg with maximum speeds reaching Mach 4, 4 times the speed of sound, or about 49,000 kilometers per hour. The missile is believed to have an accuracy of below 30 meters. So there is also another speculation that uh, it could possibly potentially help Russia better manage its offensive on Ukrainian soil. And this missile FAT 360 is often been compared with the US-made HIMARS system, which is sent to the Ukrainian forces by USA. So Iran is a very important ally of Russia, who is supporting with weaponry. And we must not forget the role of North Korea in Ukraine war, and they are supporting Russia at since the very beginning of the war. So we need to check North Korea's role in the Ukrainian invasion by Russia. North Korea plays a very vital role, as they are not bound by any international rules-based order. The first thing they did is in 2022 they supported Russia by recognizing self-proclaimed Donetsk People's Republic and Luhansk People's Republic. So they also send military personnel under Russian uniform and under Russian command. So they are extending diplomatic support to Russia in unconditionally in international forums, especially in UN Security Council and in other international forums. Also, North Korea has supported Russia with artillery ammunition, initially running on they have sent almost 50 North Korean made M1989 Coxswain self-propelled howitzers, around 220 M1991 short-range missile systems, and also they have sent soldiers to Russia. There is a report that more than 1,500 soldiers has been sent by North Korean regime to Russia. So we can say that North Korea is supporting Russia directly and openly. So to understand these Russia-Ukraine conflict, I think we need to double check the whole situation, as there are rogue state and rogue nations who are supporting Ukraine unconditionally, and they are not bound by any moral bindings, and like Assad regime, although Assad has fled to Russia recently, but Assad regime has supported Russia unconditionally with money, with everything. So I think the conflict should be reevaluated from a very sensitive point of view, as it is demeaning the territorial integrity, sovereignty, and independence of Ukraine. I think we should not pay Ukraine more for the ego of Europe and America, as America is now going through a major power shift from Biden administration to Trump administration, where we can very little rely on the Trump administration's positivity towards Ukraine, where we cannot even trust Mr. Trump how he will react or play his role towards Ukraine and Europe, as Europe is the major ally who are supporting diplomatically, politically, and financially to the war effort of Ukraine. So, as India always says, the solution is a diplomatic solution. Bangladesh always put pressure on international players that diplomatic solution is the only solution, as the real loser is the Ukrainian people. And so let's look at the solution which can be solved by the international players, and the table is empty. It's time to put some dish and welcome the parties to have a dinner, but with a solution, a realistic, holistic solution that will allow Ukrainian people to come back to their lands, to see their dearest ones, and to see their livestock are grazing, flowers are blooming, children are chirping. So thank you very much. Good night.